Good morning. What the hell was that? Oh
It's a beautiful morning event. That's all it is. Making sure who's on.
I made a boo-boo, and now I've got to go back and like re-edit the descriptions and all that stuff. So we're so sorry. That was so my fault. I'm tired. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't do the intro, and then instead of just going into the intro, I like stopped the broadcast, not realizing that it made us start all over with a new, like actual new link. So it's just like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, the tired badass Buddha. Dr. Lori Monaco coming to you from sunny Southern Connecticut. I am your authenticity teacher, speaker, and coach, your chiropractic physician, your weight loss specialist, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
Yes, buenos días, good morning, namaste, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita and this beautiful cold. What are we, Thursday?
Yep.
Thursday morning. I forget what day I'm living. So yes, I am La Margarita, your gladiator guru. I am your writer, your artist, your life coach. I am your wedding officiant. Come get some papers notarized with me. I'm a little bit of everything, and that makes me everything of magically orgasmic. Good morning, mi gente, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
Viva Cafe con Leche. Do we have, what are you, Leche? What's your Leche? What's your cafe today?
Seriously. Cafe La Llave is the coffee. It is an unsweetened organic almond milk with, unfortunately, I only put one Maktub. Maktub, it is a terrible cup of coffee.
But we are out of it today. Woo!
Monk fruit. Good morning, Linda, Chanel, Michelle, Tiffany, my beautiful sister, Connie, Francia. Happy Thursday. Yes, in my beautiful polka dot, very flamenco-ish coffee mug.
Do you remember years ago when Always pads came out? Well, I think it was Always came out with the dots. And they made this big deal of the dots. They said, oh, the dots, because it was more absorbent. So every time I think of dots, I always think of like that big campaign that they had about the dots, the importance of the dots for your period. It's amazing
it's amazing what you retain, yes.
And what we connect. Like why would I really
it's
want
true.
To connect that?
Because you know what? Everybody connects with different stuff. Sometimes you're like, huh? What? You connected with that? So yeah. But yeah, that's what's in mine. What's in your cup?
It is oh my God. What's that called? The one I've been drinking, Joe. Oh my gosh, Wicked Joe's coffee. It's pretty good. I like it.
Is that the one I had when I was over there?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it is good. I did like that.
I've got to, I'm almost out, so I'm ready to I'm going to order from Bones. I've ordered from Bones Coffee Company before, and I really like theirs, because you know how I am with the flavored coffee. And not that Wicked Joe's doesn't have flavored coffee, they do. But I decided to go for their organic brand. I had their regular coffee, the regular brand, non-organic, and it was okay. You would probably like theirs because they're very strong coffees in general. I'm not really a strong coffee person. I'll admit that. I could do a medium roast, but I can't do dark roast. If I do, it has to be, I have to add a lot to it. And it's funny because I think back when I was in Puerto Rico all those years ago, and I get my cup of coffee and I'm throwing milk in there, and it's how come is that turning beige? It was just getting grayer and lighter gray and lighter gray. And then I threw a couple of teaspoons of sugar, and I'm like, why isn't this sweet enough? I'm pouring the shit in. It was oh my God, it's strong stuff down there.
It is. I think the magic of Spanish espresso coffee is you can't pour cold milk into it. It's not your average dirty water coffee. I'm not going to mention no names like Dunkin' Donuts. So what happens, right? You got to foam the milk. You got to babysit it. You
I'm
got to
glad you didn't
caress
mention
it.
any names.
You got to caress it, and you got to stir it with the wooden spoon and stir it until it becomes very creamy and foamy, like a thick plush white blanket. And then you pour it in, and then it instantly becomes café con leche. And you pour as much milk.
And why she's magically orgasmic when she gives descriptions of coffee like that? Like, could you imagine? Listen, here's the deal. When you have your coffee place, you need to like be serving the coffee to people and saying this at the same time. You will have lines out the door. People will be more than happy to wait in line as you're sitting there going, and we're going to stir it with
the wooden spoon. Yeah. And you go like this, and you just stir it, and it just becomes melodic while you're doing that. You just stir, and you talk, and you stir. Me, half the time I'm stirring so much that when I go to get the cups, my milk is overflowing all over my stove. So my son-in-law, when I'm over there making coffee, he stands next to me and watches me so that I don't dirty his stove. And Janet is starting to do the same thing here. So it's like, oh my God. But yeah, so I think that when you're passionate, and no offense to regular roast people, I love you all the same.
Regular roast people, you're a different category of people.
Yeah, you drink coffee, you're in my tribe. Point blank, period. But yeah, so.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
So, but I am the hot loving and relations dark coffee type of woman. And that's it. And that's the only difference we have. It's that, but we're coffee connoisseurs. I'm just kidding, Dunkin' Donuts. So good morning, mi gente. Summer. Hopefully, I think Connecticut is skipping spring again. And before you know it, it's going to be summer.
I don't know. I can't. I don't even listen to the weather reports. I just open the window and go, what's it like today? Listen, I have friends in Colorado that got snow yesterday or the day before. And they had 70-degree weather like the day before that. So this is just wacky. And yeah, so more people jumped on. So let's see, Nancy Green. Good morning. Arika Bolahala. Good morning. Ooh. Janet's in the house. Good morning. Iritza. Talia Rodriguez is in. Chanel is in. Good morning, Chanel. Did we miss anybody?
Talia. Mariluz, I saw that. Mariluz,
Wanda. Good morning, Wanda in Georgia. And yes, so I'm going to start typing in a little bit. Connie's on. I don't know if we saw Tiffany Bryant.
Yes, I saw. Yeah.
You saw Connie already? Okay, great.
Yes.
So,
but I don't see Janet. Oh, I see Janet. But Talia Rodriguez is my beautiful niece who recently became a mommy to a beautiful daughter. Congratulations. Enhorabuena. My beautiful niece. Don't stop what you're doing because now you have a reason to continue school, to focus and be extremely.
So look at Chanel said
motivating.
there was flurries this morning here, and then Wanda's saying it was 32 in Georgia. That's cold ass weather down. I mean, that Georgia's usually not. I wonder what Florida's doing.
I don't know, but I can tell you that Texas was cold. Same weather when I checked what the weather was here, it was the same weather, same degrees. So I wasn't impressed.
Not even by the Cowboys? You weren't impressed by any Cowboys?
I didn't see any. I was in Dallas.
You didn't see any big buckles?
I did find.
I heard they got real big buckles down there.
I didn't see none of that in Dallas, but I'll tell you what. There were some rude MFers in the restaurants. And yeah, they were rude. Even at the airport there. And I'm talking all races, all shades. They were just rude for some reason.
Like rude to, you mean like working, like people or visitors or like patrons, not workers. You're talking about workers?
Yeah, employees, residents of Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
So, Yeah, so that wasn't really. So yeah, that was just my observation of that.
Texas, you gotta defend yourself here. So are people ruder in Dallas? That's what we want to know. That's a question we're gonna poll to everybody.
And if you're in Dallas, you don't like what I say, it's my perspective. I lived it, so I can say it. And that was my perception of Dallas, Texas, and that's it. But it was, it was beautiful being out there, seeing the cows, seeing the horses. It was a different place. I want to go to San Antonio next.
No, I've been to Austin. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth. I've been to Austin. I think I've been to San Antonio. And because it's such a big state, it is varied. I mean, it's people are very different place to place. And when I was in Austin, I loved it. I thought the people were really nice.
And I think Tiffany did too. She thought people were rude in one place and not in the other. I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's where you were, and I'm quite pleasant everywhere I go. I speak to everybody. I speak to everybody. But yeah, some people. One waitress just stood away like she was gonna catch something from us. With her mask on, she was like this. Yeah. So it was like whatever. Talia, so Michaela, Mackenzie, and Tatiana, these are all there. I love yous.
So we're getting temperatures all over. Nancy Green is saying 61 here in Tampa.
You see?
Linda, Maryland, 33 degrees. And then Chanel said, I love San Antonio and South Padre Island. I've always wanted to go to South Padre Island, and I've never, I've never done it. But that's a beautiful place. I think that's it's a big spring break place, isn't it? Like that's for people, how like most people like in the East Coast, they'll go to Fort Lauderdale, right? It's Fort Lauderdale for spring break.
Miami, South Beach, yeah.
And then, but over there, they go to like South Padre Island for spring break or something like that. I'm pretty positive. So
I want to go to Nantucket. I want to go to.
I've never been to Nantucket.
Me either. Janet has. Yes, I want to go to those two places before I'm 60. So come on. But I got 7 years.
But I've been to Block Island, which is really pretty. It's just quiet. And then I do love Rhode Island. Rhode Island, the people in Rhode Island are really, really nice. Like it's such a small state, but they're so friendly that I've seen. And I know because I went to Newport because I used to go to Newport all the time. Newport's very dog friendly. Like you could take your dog through the town. They could take him in the stores. And I decided to go to a dog park. Take the dog to let the dog run around a little bit. And it was like a really cold day. And the only people that were there were the people that were residents. And they were the nicest people because my dog is a little weird with other dogs. Like she's good with smaller dogs, but when she gets dogs that are as big as she is, she gets all like, bitchy. And so she was not really wanting to be around them, but she won't bite them, but she'll growl and she'll sound like she's going to bite them. And I guess she could, but we
all could bite somebody.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
We're all capable of it.
She just kind of like stays away, but when they come close, she'll growl. So here, like my local dog park, they're like so stuck up. Like they're cliquey. I'm like, I felt like I was going back into high school. I'm like, seriously, are these people I went to high school with? Because it's cliquey with your dog. So these people were so nice. They were just talking to me, and their dog would come over to mine. Mine would all be growling. I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, every single one was like, don't worry about it. That's, that's how they are. I said, she's not really socialized with big dogs all the time. She's like, that's why she's here. It was so nice. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was just great. So yeah, it's a good place. You'll like it. It's very pretty over there.
Oh, right. You know what? I've seen enough movies with it that makes me want to go.
Well, I mean, pretty much everything in Hallmark is either the irony though. It's supposed to either be New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, sometimes Mass, very rarely Connecticut, a lot of Maine, but it's all filmed in Canada. It's all filmed in, I think it's British Columbia is the most common spot that they film, which is beautiful, by the way. And I would love to, that's what I want to do is I want to take a trip to Canada when they open their freaking borders. I really would love to take a trip up there, but go across to a place called, oh my God, what's the name of the place? It's just spectacular. Banff. It is, look it up. It's BANF. I think it's one F. you have to see the lakes in this place are just breathtaking. They're green, beautiful, and there are parks everywhere. And it's just absolutely beautiful. But it's like way the hell over. It's like above whatever state. I'm so bad with geography. Whatever state on our country. Like I want to say it's almost Washington State, but whatever the state is to the right of Washington State is that, I don't know what that is. It's not Montana. That's Overmore. Isn't that terrible? You ever do that quiz where you list all the 50 states? It's like people always leave out like 6 states. They forget.
Why is that? Why is that we can learn about everybody else, but we don't know we talk about the immigrants, but they know the Constitution by heart. Yeah. I don't remember a damn word of it. Yeah. And so it's the little things we take for granted.
Yes.
So appreciate life, appreciate your life first, because if you value everything about you and want to expand, you value everything around you. Sometimes no, it's okay. Fuck it. Good morning. Buenos dias. Namaste. And I have the intention, so I'll start it. Okay. The intention. Close your eyes. Put your trust in him.
Don't close your eyes if you're driving.
No. No matter what you've been through, it is written. No matter what you do, it is written. No matter what you know, it is written. Put your trust in him, in God, in your higher power. And just believe. That's it.
Fabulous. Thank you. And Attica said Idaho. She's given us the geography lesson. It's Idaho. Idaho is the state.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's
that I was talking about.
Hello, Luis. Michelle Emar Rivera. Blessed Thursday morning. Michelle Houston, we got to pick a date. Badass Buddha and I were talking about this. Luis Sanchez, Brenda Lugo. Good morning, ladies. Brenda was with me in Texas. She also experienced the rudeness of the people.
Okay. All right. Well, Texas, you got to redeem yourself. You got to watch Viva Cafe con Leche.
You think they care? They don't care. They're the lone state.
Leche.
Can kiss my ass. They do not care.
And the mantra for today, I will listen when my soul speaks. I will listen when my soul speaks. Because that is what, so we're going to be talking about this wonderful book today. And we, technically we talk about it without actually mentioning the book, really, because that's pretty much, if you've not read this book, read it. It's an easy read, and it's a very interesting read. I actually had never read the book until I became friends with Gladiator Guru. And in fact, I had just read the book. What month is this? April. I think I read this book the end of last year is when I actually read it. And then I read it, and I was so excited after I read it that I read it again because it was so good. And we tried to get Paulo. You missed out. Buddy.
Yeah.
You missed out. We asked him to come on, and Maktub, we're going to talk about what Maktub is. Who's to say he might come on at a later episode as Viva grows, which, by the way, everyone, have you checked out how many subscribers we have on YouTube? We are up to 57. Woo! 57 subscribers. This is very exciting. And we want you to keep sharing, keep doing this. We had our 100th episode on Tuesday. We have our 1-year celebration in a little less than 3 weeks. And by summertime, we want Viva to really just skyrocket, really just, and you'll all be the first people that we're on, but we really want everybody to really get addicted to Viva, have their cup of coffee in hand and have Viva on in the background at their coffee shops and whatever, and then get addicted to the Gladiator Guru and the badass. That's right.
I think that, every step is a celebration. So thank you, everybody, for celebrating with us, because this is who we are. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're listening today, Talia, Michaela, Mackenzie, go to YouTube, look up Viva Cafe con Leche, and subscribe. I'm speaking to my nieces. So, and then we'll do this. But yeah, Paulo Coelho, I've always loved him. I'm on my 10th read of the book. And every time I read it because I bought the book. But one of my favorite quotes from him, it says, I love you because the entire universe conspired to help me find you. And I think that's so powerful when you believe in something like that, whether it's for love.
Say it one more time because my daughter was talking to me while you were talking. So say it one more time.
I love you because the entire universe conspired to help me find you.
Oh.
Paulo Coelho. Yep. So, and I'm waiting on my book, The Archer. That's his latest book. So yeah, I think he's a phenomenal writer. He's very spiritual. He takes you to a place that if you've never read his books, you can't connect with the spirituality and the way that he speaks of it. He's very, very spiritual. And he talks about it in his book, The Pilgrimage. He talks about what type of spiritual religion he's in and what he believes in. And it's in the Alem book as well. And I just think that the spirituality is something like the Celestine prophecy, how he steps outside of his human form and crosses realms while still being in this life. So it's a beautiful thing. Maybe we should all do that. Oh, my niece said 58 subscribers with the heart.
Yay.
So
let's do a shout out too. We have it looks like we have, I've never seen this viewer before. So this is great. Elcira Halgun de Sevilla.
Ole!
Good morning. Good morning. And just remember to make sure you do shout outs on, post your comment, because sometimes we don't see, unless we're looking, we don't, if you don't say hello, good morning, we don't see you on here, and then it pops us up. It pops us up. So, or pops you up on there. And yes, Paulo is, first of all, if you ever see him interviewed too, he's such a little sweet pea. Like you just want to grab him and you just want to squeeze him. He's just so cute and he's just so lovey. And especially not to sound rude, but it's so nice to see men that way. It's so nice to see men not being afraid to say what they feel and be vulnerable and just be in their truth. And I love that. And I think if men really sort of turned more inward and really looked into their spirit and their soul, I think it would be a big game changer for a lot of people. But I also think it'd be a big game changer for society in general, of how because remember, change always starts with us. We have to make a decision on how we're going to live our life. And then that in turn affects people around us. It gives people permission to be a certain way. And especially if it's a positive way, like if you're doing it in a positive way, it boosts people up to get rid of their fears, to step into the unknown and not feel so all alone. Like I have conversations with my 17-year-old who has depression, and she's also very isolated. She doesn't have any friends. And it's so sad to say that as a mom, to where, she doesn't. She has acquaintances, but there's nobody that really checks on her. There's nobody that, like, she'll reach out to people. They never reach out to her. And it's just, and she's a empathic child. She's a woman who's very insightful, very empathic. And she feels very lost. Her depression comes in play because she has nobody that's like her. So she feels she's different than everybody else. And so I keep saying to her, you're going to find your tribe. You have to go out and look too. You can't be in your room and looking for a tribe that's not in front of you. You have to explore. And I think that's also the premise of this book. The premise of this book is Maktub, which is, it is written. It's about destiny, but destiny, we create our destiny in the end. Destiny isn't just formed and there it is and blah, blah, blah. Our destiny is wherever it's in front of us. So if you stay home within your realm, your destiny will be within that realm, correct? But if you venture out, your destiny will be outward.
That's what you got?
Yeah, that's what I got.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
you thought? That's what I thought.
no, because everybody's perception
Interprets
of
it
something.
differently.
And that's why when we get together, that's how we learn off one another. It is written means that no matter where you start, how far you travel, how many U-turns you make it back, what is meant for you is going to cross your path. You're going to happen upon it. You're going to seek it. You're going to be so lost, like Santiago was in the book, The Alchemist. He had a dream in Andalusia, Spain, and it was a dream that happened, but he was a shepherd and he had to bring some fur to, I guess, Morocco. And he's traveling, and all he thought about was the market owner's daughter. But there was so many trials and tribulations. He lost everything. Then he worked and he gained some stuff, and then he had to cross the desert because he thought
Spoiler alert.
his destination was in the pyramids, and he was in the oasis, and he had to make a full circle to find his treasure right where he was sleeping in Andalusia. So yeah, you do seek it. It's going to come to you. And you're absolutely right, Badass Buddha. We, because of free will, we have to be a very active and inspiring participant in our lives. Things are not going to come to us. Opportunity might knock once. And if you don't open the door, then you got to put your big girl panties on and go seek that bitch. Because you have to be, it's like a 401k where you put this much in and the company matches it that way. It has to be a love affair that you have with your life and your legend. And if you can love your life and know that you have a legend and be open to travel and cross those deserts and climb those mountains, because you know that at the end of the day, it's going to be Maktub, and you're going to be, oh, this is why I had to travel what I traveled, so that I can appreciate what has been written for my destiny. And what you mentioned about Paulo Coelho, when I was caring for my husband 2 years prior to him passing away, I'm getting him out of bed for his shower one Sunday morning, and the TV was on, and I'm just listening to Oprah. And then I hear this male voice with an accent, and he's talking about the first book he ever wrote at 41 years old, because he only used to write jingles. And he talks about doing the Camino de Santiago, the spiritual journey. But although the pilgrimage is a personal journey for every person, he went on a spiritual legacy journey from his realm. In other words, you got to read that book. I'm not going to do no more spoiler alerts. Thank you, Badass Buddha. And so what happens? When I heard that, I felt something in my chest. I can't tell you if it was like my heart skipped a beat or I had the butterflies in the stomach, but I felt something in my chest. That's the first time I ever heard of the Camino Santiago. And then I was like, oh God, I would like that. If it's meant for me, when I'm done with this assignment, I would love to do that. That a year and something went by, the movie The Way comes out with Martin Sheen. And I actually seen the Camino, which if you watch the movie and you've never been on the Camino, brace yourself, because they left a lot of important things out in that movie, like climbing fucking mountains every day. So then I watched videos, and then my husband got sick and sicker, and then he passed away. And every day that I would go, every couple times a week that I would go get his medicine at the same place, I always looked around. I never noticed anything. Well, the day before he passes away, I go to get medication, and what do I see? It's a van. Like the street light was like a spotlight on the van that has always been there. And on it, it said, El Camino. And I knew that was a sign. That was my permission being granted to go on the Camino. So needless to say, 3 weeks after I buried my husband, I walked the Camino de Santiago. And I chose not to read the pilgrimage until after I returned. And when I did, it was just love, because he talks about all the places that I had already been through. So, I mean, read his books if you want to connect spiritually, if you want to see that there is something bigger than us, there's something bigger than human and human, there's something bigger spiritually. And the Badass Buddha and I speak a lot about feed your spirit. And if you feed your spirit with nature and spiritual things, then guess what? You can see your legend clearly. You can see what your purpose in life is. And I'm done talking. But if you do anything in your life, do the Camino de Santiago. You can do a week every year, 2 weeks at a time. I did the whole month and a half, and let me tell you, I'm fiending. I'm like that addict that I need more of it. So Spain, hurry up and open up, because venga, animo.
Oh, Kimberly said, my husband will be taking me to Greece next year. Oh, I would love, yeah, I that's one of my things. I want to go to Italy, Greece. I could easily spend probably like the whole summer in Europe and just travel like back and forth. I want to go to Portugal, Spain, France. Yeah, I guess France.
And you can do that all on a train.
That sounds good. That sounds good to me. So the thing is with The Alchemist is a fiction, it's a fiction book. And so for me, I'm a big nonfiction person. I love personal development books and learning stuff. But The Alchemist is built to be a personal development book as a fiction, a book of fiction. It's sort of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or oh God, there's so many other one that you had mentioned before, the Celestine Prophecy. Like, it's, so if you're a fiction fan, these are the books that we definitely want to encourage you to read. In fact, maybe we'll put a list together and post it, because sometimes people really don't, who are real big fiction people, don't like nonfiction. They don't like that stuff. But when you can learn something, that's like real key. I mean, obviously you could learn anything from a fiction book. Like if you read The Hunger Games, the deep rooted real message in that story. I mean, that it's about triumph and standing up for what you believe in and blah, blah, blah. So, but this one's a fantastic read. And like I said, it's a real easy read. And so Maktub is the word that's pushed into this book. And is it a
scripture? It's Arabic, and it's in scripture, Matthew 4:4, where it says that it is written, no man shall live on bread alone, but on every word spoken from God. So I'm paraphrasing that last part, but it is an Arabic word. And Irita texted me, she's like, what is Maktub? Nuna said it's Arabic. Nuna's the one that was here. You met her, Georgia. And it is. I think it's a beautiful word. It's not used enough.
Yes, I agree. And Linda McBee's telling me that she's going to hook me up with a friend of hers that does tours. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would love that. I also do have family in Italy, and they have been wanting me to come visit. So I actually have plenty of places to stay, which is very cool. Hey, the cheaper, the better. And home cooked, real Italian food. Right?
Yeah, that's the best.
I would love a tour, though. I mean, because I would love to do the whole gamut, of Italy as much as I can. But so the book is like sort of sectioned into different parts, and it's a story, it's a journey. And it's this man's journey of, having this dream, and it all starts that way for us. Like, how often have we had a dream, or we felt something deep down within us that was so strong, and sometimes you took the step and you followed it, and other times you sort of just shoved it down. Like you felt it, and then other people were around you, and there were expectations, and you felt like, oh, I should do this, or I should be this way, or people rely on me, and you shoved it. But when you do that, that will keep coming up. It'll pop up, and it'll pop up. And I'm convinced that, not for everybody, but for the vast majority of people who suffer depression, I'm convinced that it has to do with them not looking inward and really honoring themselves to do what it is that they really, really want to do. So again, I'm not saying that, like, don't sit there, I got to get off my meds because she said it's this. It's not that. There's people that have chemical imbalances and have to be on medications. But I think for probably at least half of the people, they don't have a chemical imbalance. They are just not being true to who they are. They're not listening to that inner voice. They're stuffing it because, for a lot of reasons, low self-worth, expectations of self and society and whatever. But in this book, he decides to follow it. There's too many signs, you know, there's too many things. He talks a lot about omens in the book. There's too many things that pop in that help him, that guide him. And there's then people along the way that put it in his ear to keep going and moving. Like when you said the truck was there with that word on there. You know, the moment that we start to really honor our spiritual, you know, the inside voice, the spiritual voice, the soul, whatever you want to say, the moment we honor that piece of it and we listen, we see things differently. So that truck was there all the time, but Gladiator Guru didn't see it because her eyes were not open to it yet, because her heart hadn't opened to it. The moment that her soul, her heart, her brain, everything aligned, she saw. And I always think back to like the movie The Matrix, you know, when he gets shot and he's just there, and then all of a sudden he like stands up and he turns and looks, and now he's seeing the Matrix. He didn't see it before because he wasn't open to it before. He kept fighting it and fighting it and fighting it, and it took that death. Like he had to die. His old spirit had to die to open up for the new spirit to come in, and he was able to see. And I love it, especially when he's like fighting and his hands moving really rapidly, and he's like kind of looking at it going like, what the hell? Like, but he was, at the same time, he just understood. And that's what it is. It's the moment that you become aligned with your spirit, your soul, and you listen to what you're saying, things will open up for you. And then the next part is to take that leap of faith.
Well, I think you have to be open. I think I'm going back to what you were saying about fiction and nonfiction. I have a whole bookcase of nonfiction because facts are very important, and I don't go by statistics. Statistics are numbers, and numbers lie, because that's my experience with it. But I think that fiction, books like this, like The Alchemist, and all his collection of books, I think they're needed. Like The Hunger Games, I love that. You learn so much on survival skill. Keeps you keen. It keeps you wanting to learn things when you have to survive, instead of depending that everything's going to be as it is. So what happens? I believe fiction is like, it fills you with all this world of imagination. That imagination in children is being excluded, the same way they removed handwriting, penmanship, cursive writing in school. And I think without imagination, no matter what factual stuff we read, it's not going to go in. So I think feeding your imagination with fiction, whether it be Charlie Brown stories, Dr. Seuss did not write those books for kids. Let me just make that clear. Those books were for me. So what happens? Feeding your spirit, which enlightens your imagination, is like the key to unlocking the door to those stale thoughts that we've kept all along. Oh, well, the sky is blue, and you know, dirt is this and that. And it just makes you see color in such a way that it makes you happy. And imagination does that. You know what? You see a white horse, you can imagine that little unicorn thing on it, because it's beautiful. And it makes you believe that there are good things in life. Imagination isn't just like living in a fake world. It adds beauty to your world now. So I think that both of them, read both. Have a collection of both. And when you're tired of what is and you can't change it, go take a walk down the yellow brick road with Dorothy and skip your ass off for the day. You know, it's like, go with Alice in Wonderland and peek down the hole. Do that. Fly on the rug with Aladdin. Do those things if it's going to take you out of a funk you're in, and then help you deal with what is. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a fake world. It's just stories that you're listening that make you smile and make you dream. Like, I like to read fiction because I can visualize that I'm actually there with them. And then let me tell you something. If it's a really good book, like for a day or two, I am like missing those characters as though they were like sleeping in the next room to me. I miss them. And then you wonder, but that's just me because I'm an avid reader like that. But I love it, and I think it's good. And in Maktub, we learned it out of this fiction book. So it just adds the my belief that The Alchemist is a must read book. If you don't have one, I have some here in Connecticut. I have some on my bookshelf because every time I go to the thrift store, I buy all of them that I see. And I read them every time I buy it. That's why I'm on my 10th read right now. But I also buy it every time I want to read it because I love to share that book with people. And I want people to read it because I want people to just grow spiritually with that and get excited about meeting the king and going through the desert and finding the oasis and all of that good stuff. I'm done talking.
The book is about the book is about, again, listening to your heart, listening to what's inside you, whether it comes in a dream form or, again, it's just the gut feeling that you have. And then discovering what they call your personal legend, which is your purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody gets asked, as a coach, you often ask people, well, what is it that you want to do with your life? And people come because they're stuck and they're like, I don't know what my purpose here is. And I heard that from my daughter last night when we were talking. And it's when you look for your purpose, that's the problem. We look with our head for our purpose, but you have to dive deeper. And the way most of the time you discover your purpose is you experience life. So you have to be out there and your purpose gets presented to you, but you won't know until you put yourself out there and try so many different things. This book it talks about dreams. It talks about destiny. It talks about omens. It talks about your purpose. It talks about love. It talks about trust and saying that, those around you, he falls in love with somebody who's very supportive, but it doesn't have to be a significant other. It could be a friend. It could be multiple people. There's always somebody that's going to support you in your journey. And you sometimes will be presented with those people. Sometimes you kind of have to find those people. But the key is to be open to the fact that those that don't support you need to go. Or you would need to at least keep a deaf ear if you don't want to boot them out of your life. And it's sometimes hard to keep a deaf ear, but if you allow yourself to hear your soul speaking to you, that will drown out all the naysayers out there. That will drown out all the people that don't agree with you, that don't understand your vision, that don't understand your dream. And that will give you the strength. And then you will find the people. Well, okay, so here's a prime example, right? So Guru is doing her walk in Spain, and she comes across a young girl. It's like a storybook. Comes across a young Australian girl, and they do part of the walk together. And then we're on our call Tuesday. Monday. We're doing our Clubhouse, because remember, Viva's on Clubhouse. If you have an iPhone, don't forget 4 p.m. every Monday. So we're in Clubhouse doing this, and this girl pops on, and it was the girl from Australia, and she said the most beautiful things to Guru about how just her conversation changed. It was life-changing for her, and we think that we don't make a difference. Gladiator Guru gets out there. She knows she reaches a higher, a group of people. Like there's people she reaches out there. So do I. But there's an expression, and I've said this before, or the quote that says, to the world, you are one person, but to one person, you are the world. And for this girl, she made it very clear that Guru was that one person that helped make her shift. She got to the walk by her own destiny, listening to what she needed to do to get there. Then she comes across and finds this sage as Gladiator Gurus, but at the same time, it's reciprocal, because what Guru gave to this beautiful spirit, this young girl, the girl gave to Guru, and that's the coolest part about it all. Like when you go into your world and you believe that people come to you for a reason, good or bad, but especially when you're coming from a really good place, you can sift that out, and you can find those amazing people out there and connect, even if it's just for a moment. Like Guru does make friends with people, for heaven's sakes. What is it? The taxi driver in Spain, was it the taxi driver in Spain that you became friends with?
We talk all the time. He gives me updates on the vaccine. how they had to stop the vaccines in Spain because people were getting blood clots where the needle went in. We talk about how during the pandemic there was nobody to taxi, so he had to get another job. I mean, and then I have another friend who had to close his albergue. I have two friends in Italy, and because I mentioned Italy, Ana Laura asked you a question earlier. If Italians, your family in Italy are like the family in Puerto Rico, that they want you to come to their house, they feed you, but then they expect you to stay with them throughout your vacation.
Oh, probably. Well, listen, just like Puerto Ricans, like these are distant cousins, but they're cousins. Like,
yeah,
my
that's my cousin.
I don't even know if we're related. It's like I was going down the lineage. I'm like, well, so my mother's explaining. So this one is your grandmother's granddaughter, no, your grandmother's niece's children. And I'm like, whatever, they're cousins, good enough for me. And we've actually talked, like we did a Zoom talk with the whole group of them, and one of them only speaks English, so she's a translator, and so she's in the middle. It translates, like we would be talking. It was the funniest thing. She's a year younger than me, so it'll be a lot of fun to see her. And she came to visit years ago when we were teens. She came to visit, but so
I think go for it. You need to go for it because you know what? Everywhere you go, like during my Camino, not only did I meet some beautiful friends that, you know, I haven't spoken to Taylor in a while because the hours are totally different. We were on it was like 4:30 when we saw her pop up, and she said she had just woken up in Australia, and she said, the universe aligned because she needed to hear some positive words, and she's new to Clubhouse, and she came on and she saw that I was on, and what we were speaking about was exactly the food that her spirit needed, so she fed it. And then she came out and gave this compliment that I was all choked up sitting in the back seat of the car in Texas, and because you don't know the impact you make on people.
Yes.
And that's why we need to go out there. We need to be available because we don't know, one, who's going to save our spirit when we don't even realize it's drowning, and whose life we are going to touch in such a profound way that now she is this great sought after artist because she doubted her artistry. She's this sought after, always has many consignments. She's dancing naked in the woods in Australia and videotaping, and then she paints it. I mean, it's just beauty how she allowed her spirit to go free and become who she is. So I think that it is written means you're supposed to meet these people at that time in your life. But what's important is free will. It's what you do with it. Because the badass Buddha and I, we come across many people in life, and then we allow life to control us. Oh, but I can't go out here because so-and-so expects me to do this, and I got to cook dinner, and then I got to read this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do that. So who's shortchanging you out of life? You are, because you're putting yourself in a box, and you're not allowing yourself to say, I'm going to be selfless today. So fuck dinner, fuck that phone call, fuck this. I'm going to go for a walk because I need to feed my spirit. And you know what? The world's not going to end for the missed phone call, for the missed dinner, or even the laundry that needed to be washed or dried or folded. That can wait.
Yes.
Your spirit is on a time limit. We are born on a certain day, and our death date is already predestined. So we are on a time limit. So the laundry can wait, the dinner can wait, that webinar can wait, that phone call can wait. All of that can wait. And if they're upset, fuck them twice. That means you really got to go and feed your soul. And because we have all these excuses, and then we get stressed out, and we can't sleep, or we overeat, or we miss a dinner. We do all of this to ourselves and blame it on life. No. Maktub means it is written. It means your personal legend has already been created before you were born. That means that whatever's supposed to happen is already happening. But are you walking the path to meet it? Because it is written, but you're going to be going in so many loops in our lives that the way to go is left, and we keep going right. We keep taking that. What is that thing that's called?
The roundabout?
Yeah, the roundabout. And instead of going around the whole roundabout to take that right, what are we doing? We're just going halfway because we're on a time limit. No, bitch, your spirit's on a time limit.
Or you just keep going in a circle. I think of National Lampoon's Vacation or European Vacation when he was doing that. He was couldn't get out of where Big Ben was, and he kept going in a circle all day because he couldn't understand how to merge. But Gladiator Guru is right. It's like we sit there and we again, I don't mean to throw my daughter out there at all. And I'm saying it because she's real. I get challenged with her sometimes because there's so much of the old me in her, and I sometimes don't want to be reminded of what I used to be, but that is my journey to have to help her through this as well, and I get frustrated when she says, she keeps repeating herself and saying this is this and blah 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 in the pity party, and I'm like, you're in your room all the time. You have to get out. And I know she's limited. She doesn't have her driver's license yet. And even if she didn't have a car. And I mean, I guess she could use mine, but she doesn't have her driver's license yet. She's not working, and finally I said it last night. I'm like, then we need to get you a job. We need to do this. And the minute I started presenting all these things, the fear kicks in. What if I can't? I'm like, and that's what it comes down to. And I think about it and I say, my God, I don't want my children to be so afraid to take chances. And I see it in her. I see Gladiator Guru coaches her. I see, and
she's brilliant. She's brilliant.
And she's also she's got a fire in her, but she's too busy letting everybody else from the outside world throw the water on her fire, because of past situations where people treated her badly. Like she's never had anybody that was like a friend that was really good to her. They really did. They really treated her like crap. And and she's so fearful of that. Again, she's afraid to put herself out there. And I said, you have to find your tribe. People will understand what you're going through when you find people that are like you. And sometimes that's what you need. If you've grown to a level where if you start reading these books, like seriously, The Alchemist will be life-changing for you.
It is.
That's along that same line. Even nonfiction will be life-changing. The more you read, the more you listen to, the more you'll grow. But then all of a sudden you're gonna be so immersed in it, because this is the coolest part, is when you start to learn about yourself and learn about your power, you immerse yourself. And you're like, oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, this is great. And then all of a sudden you take a breath and you put everything down and you look around and you're like, where the fuck am I? Like, you don't recognize where you are anymore, because where you are was the old you. You're looking at your house. You're looking at your room. You're looking at your job going, how the fuck do I get out of this? Like, how do I do that? Like, why am I here? You're here because that's who you were. It represents who you were. Mm-hmm. And if that pull is evident to you, like you say, oh my God, I do not fit in. She said that to me last night. She says, Mom, I don't feel like I fit in anywhere, because this is not where you need to be anymore.
And she needs to get out of her thought. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the environment too. The environment too, for sure.
And that reminds me, I found a quote, right? And I wrote it because for some reason I said, we're going to need it today, but then I changed my pages. So give me 1 minute. But in saying all that, thank you for that, because that is absolutely, we have to. We're responsible for our life. But there's a quote that I found that says, no puedes curarte si sigues fingiendo que no te dueles. No puedes curarte si sigues fingiendo que no te dueles. And it translates into, you cannot heal if you keep pretending you don't hurt. That was powerful to me. You cannot see beauty if all you're thinking about is the uglies that happened. That happened, because the uglies are not happening now. But to keep yourself safe from thinking you're gonna get hurt again, you've imprisoned yourself to stay present in your past. And when that happens, you can't see the beauty. You can't see a way out. So you have to just let go. Remember, I just want to say one thing about Spain. Hold up your book again, Laura. That book that Lori has, that's I believe it's the 25th anniversary cover. Okay. I received a copy of that book, and I, like I said, I give it to people who I feel this story can infiltrate the sleeping spirit. They haven't read it yet. But that book, that one with that cover, I received in one of my nights. I was staying in El Ave Phoenix, and it's a well-known albergue. And I walked to the corner bar, and I sat there, and I believe I was having a glass of wine that evening. It was still early, and I met these three guys. So they're jokers. So we're talking. They're like, "Oh, you're Spanish," and I'm telling them, "Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican." And, they look like that, and I was like, "Whatever." And because I don't know, when I said Boricua, they didn't understand what it was, so I had to check them on that. I had to educate them on that. So we're talking, and the guy was just talking. He wasn't like flirting. He wore like a man bag, like on the guy from The Hangover. And then his wife comes. So he's introducing me to his wife. We're talking, and we talk about all this kind of stuff. She leaves, comes back with that book. They had just bought the book. They read it. She signed it over to me on that day in May. And I read that book and the rest of my journey through Spain. And I just thought it was just magnificent because we were talking about it. I told her that's my favorite book. I have read it 7 times before and all of that. So that was a beautiful gift that I received on the camino that I prayed on, and God opened the way for me. So that just goes to show, when the universe aligns, listen, because you're not in your past anymore. And if you keep yourself in the past, you would never move forward. The second thing I wanted to say on that is,
Luis.
I forgot. Luis said he bought. Oh, badass Buddha, you look beautiful.
No, thank
As he said, he bought his spoon.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we can all grow. We just have to want it, because our legend is out there. Our purpose was born before we entered this realm. So the purpose has been laid out. The road is laid out, and it's not paved, but that's where we come in. So if you're complaining because the road is kind of rocky, it's filled with dirt, whatever, you know what? Sit your ass down and let the people behind you pass, because they're on a mission to live their purpose and fulfill their legend and have what it was they were born to have. And that's how I look at it. If you don't believe that there's something bigger and better out there for you, mi gente, sit down. Go to the nosebleed section. Because there's people on their journey, and we might have to be on the same road until our roads split out. And while we're on that road, help lift somebody. And that's what the Badass Buddha and I do in our coaching. We meet people and we speak to them. And for some reason, it's so easy to tell a stranger your whole entire life story, because there's no judgment. I don't know you, so I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to say, but how did that make you feel? And what did you do to replace it? Nothing, but what do you think you should do? And then we talk. And I did this because, we always have stories to share. And I think that's the life mission, because without you realizing, you are putting people on their right path. And don't judge. Whoever's stuck today will not be stuck forever. So don't judge. Just say, okay, so what are we going to do about it? Because ultimately it's their decision to get out of the past, to be fully present in the present, and look forward to the future, because you can't live in yesterday nor in tomorrow. Just be who the hell you are meant to be today.
That's right.
And then the road to tomorrow will be like in the airplane, when they turn the lights off, and then the lights are on the floor, so you can see your way to the toilet and hope your ass isn't against the wall because it's like this big. So if you are living presently in your present, guess what? When you're like saying, okay, where am I going? You're going to look. Your road is going to have those little lights saying, over here, Margarita, over here. Just walk. Get your ass over here.
That's right.
Pay attention to your life and fuck everything else around you.
Feed
your spirit.
Could you say that quote again? What was the translation? I want to put that onto the comments. You
cannot heal.
Right.
If you keep pretending you don't hurt.
That is so poignant. Like, seriously, like if you think about that, right? We cannot heal if we keep pretending we don't hurt. So even if you sometimes you hurt, but there's a difference. You could sit there and say, I'm hurting, but you have to still believe it. And the other piece is that, the other question is, do you want to heal it? That's the other piece of that too. Because even when you do know you hurt, do you want to heal? That should be the follow-up question. So you say you cannot heal if you keep pretending you don't hurt. Okay, no, I know I hurt. Okay, then do you want to heal? Because some people really don't.
It's just a simple, between a couple consonants or vowels or whatever the hell it is. Either you're a victim or you're a victor.
Ooh.
And that's your choice. And if you want to stay a victim and you want to keep peeling your scab off, then please do that over there. Because I'm trying to stay in alignment with my legend, and I'm on my way, and I'm walking towards my purpose, which is going to have a lot of detours and a lot of stops, but that's where the beauty comes in. It's the blessing in our darkness, and that's what you have to deal with. Yeah, there will be dark. Sometimes in a year, you're going to have more darker days than lighted days, but guess what? A seed cannot grow unless it's dug deep into the ground. Diamonds don't form in the light. And you know what? If you're walking that path alone, you're never alone. The sun rises every morning. That bitch ain't got nobody near him because he'll burn the hell out of it, right? But he still rises every morning. So, and that's how you got to look at life. You're not alone. We're never alone. We're spirits. We're never alone. But I loved today. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We were looking so forward to Maktub. We had this plan for a while. And we both were reaching out to Paulo. I'm tweeting him. I tweeted him the Viva thing. I tweeted
Instagram.
Him. Yep. We emailed his, what is she called? His publicist or whatever, that I found the email address on Twitter. Y nada. Y Paulo Coelho, ¿qué pasa, mi amor? ¿Qué pasa? Sometimes he speaks in so spiritual, and if you're listening, Paulo, correct me if I'm wrong. But sometimes we start off on this journey like regular moles, and we believe so much in spirituality and connecting to other spirits and reaching our personal legend with the assistance of other spirits. And then sometimes we forget. We get up so high on our pedestal that we look down on the minions, and we forget that it was all those people we see below us that helped us raise it to the top. So, Paulo, everything that goes up must come down. So reach out. You have all our emails and connections. Vale? So with that, before we leave, I just want to say, and I love Paulo. Like I would hug him for more than 20 seconds. I'll kiss both his cheeks and the tip of his nose. Make it happen, Paulo. Make it happen.
Absolutely.
But before we leave, I just want to announce I will be having a book signing, book reading in downtown Bridgeport. It was set for Thursday the 6th, but there's been some complications, so maybe it'll be on Friday the 7th. I will let you know on Tuesday the exact date. So mi gente, who's ever in Bridgeport or the surrounding towns, come down and see about me. You get an autographed copy of the book, so bring cash. Be true to who you are, and let's make this happen. Let's fill our lives with beauty and sorrow and grief and acknowledgement and releasing and letting go and loving. And remember, find time for yourself.
And and Nicole Walters, I see what you wrote, and I will message you. That sounds great. I would love to. And then they get the stubbornness where like, oh, I don't know, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Like, shut up, you're just doing it. Shut up. Yeah. I will
Nicole,
get them,
that's beautiful.
You and I will connect, and we'll get them connected. And I thank you for that. And so for next week, Tuesday, we're going to actually continue this conversation, really, because next week's conversation is loving yourself and learning yourself. We're going to talk about honoring yourself and self-love to allow yourself to learn and to become the amazing human that you are meant to be. And then on Thursday's show with our special guest, Karen Sammer, the heart of the matter, heart health in women of color. So she's going to be bringing some really, really important topics about, and especially not just about heart health in general, but the disparity between Caucasians and people, women of color, because it is really important. Heart attacks are actually, heart disease is the number one killer of anybody, period. I don't care what the virus is out there right now. It is still the number one killer, and especially for women, and especially for women of color. Not that it's the number one killer. Well,
it's a higher percentage.
It is across the board, but it's important because we tend not to think that whatever the situation going on, it's not our heart, something else. So it's going to be great having her on. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yay. Say it again.
Be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Amen. And that's what we talked about during the whole show. That is, today I really felt that. So mi gente, feel it, feel it, feel it. Light those firecrackers up your ass. Wake up. Make yourself a priority. Feed your spirit. And go for a walk or lounge in Netflix for one season. That's it. Only watch one season or something. And then just be you and get back into the action. Kimberly Sanchez, I don't know if we mentioned you, but I love you and thank you for coming on. And remember, mi gente, breathe in the beauty. Breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.